Okay, awesome. So we are talking about DeFi. Very exciting things happening in the DeFi space as always. And this one is really going to be focusing on mass DeFi adoption. How do we take DeFi to the next level? How do we get millions of people that are not exposed to crypto to actually start using and benefiting from decentralized finance? I think this is a big key focus, and it seems as if DeFi is really going to be the way that crypto becomes widely adopted. So I think we can start with introductions. We could start with you, Stephen.
So my name is Stephen Walbroehl. I'm the co-founder and chief security officer for Halborn. We're a security auditing firm, but we also do centralized finance, pen testing, risk assessments. We have a lot of protocols we cover, like Terra, SushiSwap, Polygon, and so on. So it's about me.
My name is Everett Carney. I'm the founder of Zealot Finance, which is, we're basically just announcing that today. We focus on reworking the way that long-term large loans work for people. So we want to see people being able to get home loans, car loans, things like that that you would have a difficult time doing today in the normal banking environment.
My name is Satoshi Nakamoto. I created Bitcoin. Thank you. No, Austin Davis, founder of CrownBits.io, co-founder of CrownBits, and other companies, but CrownBits is a Bitcoin and DeFi rewards platform.
What's up, guys? My name's Andy, and I am the founder of DeFi Slate. We are a platform that is all about the vibes, not too technical, not too intense or informational, but it is a podcasting platform. We do educational content on all sorts of DeFi protocols. So we spoke to probably hundreds of DeFi founders and protocols at a young age. I'm here 22, and we've basically taken all of that kind of high-level technical knowledge and broken it down to a level where anybody can understand. So it's like this entire panel is basically the entire premise of what we're trying to do for DeFi. And like I said, it's not too crazy. We're all about the vibes, having a good time. And I'm excited to share more about how we can take the complications of DeFi to the mainstream today.
Awesome. So I think we could start with the main question, which is what does mass DeFi adoption actually look like? How do you guys see that developing, and where do you see within the DeFi sector there actually being mass adoption?
So I think mass adoption for DeFi, there's a lot of resistance in the very beginning when people don't understand something. From a security perspective, I think once we can build trust from centralized finance, and they see the benefits of like a peer-to-peer or direct-to-consumer without all the extra baggage we get from the middlemen, that when they see how much opportunity there is, and I think they are beginning to now, then that's how we get to mass adoption.
I agree with that. I would like to add that my view on technology is that at some point we should forget that we're using technology, and I think that DeFi needs to follow that same pattern. So, we use a credit card today, we just pull it out and swipe it, and you don't think about it. When we get there, we'll have mass adoption.
Exactly. So that leans into what I was going to say, is that the way that we're building our tech, and the way that I encourage others to, is basically to allow it to be plugged into any network. So that's how we're building, the foundational part of our API is to plug it in to any existing network, so that you don't even know it's there sometimes, but you can add a rewards layer and distribute these value assets to anybody who wants them. So we have banks that are plugging it in and things like that over in India and Africa, and that's like how we see mass adoption. So I think hiding it and not like shoving it down people's throats and allowing them to access it in the same ways that they're used to. So.
Yeah. I tend to agree on those points as well. Just it's kind of the view on everything that we're used to on the front end. So our Venmos, our Cash Apps, our bank account apps, even our social media apps. But then on the back end, it's these intricate code and all these DeFi things that, there's a small niche of people right now that really care about it, right? This like very passionate, but simply the rest of the people don't really care. They just want it to be done easily and seamlessly. So I think having this kind of DeFi on the back end and consumer extremely friendly and familiar on the front end is going to be huge. Right now, we've probably only got, I think there's 3 or 4 million wallets in DeFi now. I would say all of us here probably have 5 to 8 wallets. So there's probably less than 1 million real users on Ethereum on DeFi right now, right? So it's still in that very early stage. So there's a lot of development, to be had in terms of that UI.
And so in order to bring mass DeFi adoption, what does the crypto space need to focus on? Right now it seems as if the focus is centralized DeFi companies that are providing DeFi services, and then decentralized projects that are also kind of really the backbone of the infrastructure. How do you see the market developing in terms of retail market and mass adoption is going to be purely driven by the centralized entities? Or is there going to be more of an open space where really decentralized protocols are able to capture the direct relationship?
I think there's a danger to centralized entities coming too far into it, because then we're just really back to where we started anyways. So making decentralized finance, true DeFi, easy to use and to let people understand, kind of like what Everett was saying, and where it's transparent. Also, making sure that security awareness, knowing what they're doing, because with blockchain and DeFi, you're kind of flipping where they're responsible for the security. Now you become responsible. You are your own bank. So if you manage your own keys, you have to know what the risks are. So I think once we make security very easy, that people realize what they're doing, and you find a way to allow DeFi to be transparent, easy to use, then that's really the barriers of how we can go forward. So I think centralized institutions are starting to get into it, because they have higher budgets and they have teams that understand how this works. So, but they're going to take back control of the keys and back to square one.
Coordinating projects is very difficult with decentralized teams. Even with the remote work that we've all experienced over the past 1.5 2 years or so, we've seen problems with that, and that was those were centralized entities, Microsoft, Google, like all these big companies. Going back to the previous panel, they were talking about the importance of using decentralized groups and how the open development community really matters. I think that's very key here. The more people who can code, the better. One of the other big barriers is that DeFi people love their acronyms. And I don't know if anyone here has used Magical Internet Money, but if you go on their website, they have this like magic hat, and they talk about the 1-1, the 1-2, the 3-3, all it's complex game theory, and they're trying to break it down. They do a good job, but at the end of the day, you can't expect someone who doesn't want to go off and really learn something complex like that for themselves to just pick up game theory from a Wikipedia page on a website. That's not, you have to just say, this does this thing, and it does it. No one questions their bank, even though they should.
TikTok videos, you can learn from that.
TikTok videos are pretty good, actually. I still will not download TikTok, but that is absolutely correct.
You don't like spyware?
No, I don't like giving China my movement data for their AI training.
You are the game theory.
Yeah, all apps are evil. No, so yeah, I think the answer that I would give is that it has to be a blend of both, and the most important thing is you have to give choice. And I think banks are starting to wake up to that, which is why they're starting to offer new products and services, because they don't want to lose. And then you see them leaning on the regulators, and they're shutting down, companies like BlockFi, for example, are having trouble in certain states opening new interest accounts. So starting, I think, in January, they're not going to allow them. They're going to limit the amount of new interest-earning accounts, because they're giving, up to 10% back, where the banks are giving like 0.1%, so or less. So it's a struggle. But I think that giving the choice and like offering those products and services is the way. And then, like, some people won't want to manage their keys in self-custody because they don't trust themselves, and they're going to say, you know what? There's going to be start to be centralized services like LastPass that pop up, that manage people's keys, basically. So it's going to be a blend of both, and there's going to be always some centralization. There kind of has to be, but the more decentralized, the better. And the main thing is you got to give the choice to the people. Otherwise, we're doomed.
Yeah, digital asset custody is becoming a very big thing. We see that. Yeah.
Doomed indeed. It's a gradual process, right? You start off with crypto, you buy your first, coins on Coinbase. You don't particularly care about your keys. In fact, you'd rather not have to worry about anything to do with your keys, right? And then you get to kind of that next step if you want to earn some yield on your assets. Okay, I can still do that on Coinbase or BlockFi. I still don't really care. Then if you want to get into DeFi and do more, right, you've got to kind of get into this, okay, I got to get onto a wallet that is able to connect to a lot of these applications on these websites, right? And so that's kind of where you get into the self-custody, right? And so I think from step 1 and 2, there's plenty of crypto education and marketing out there from 2016, 2017, 2018 to onboard plenty of people into those 2 steps. But we are lacking huge time of marketing and education on why it is so important that you should be holding your own keys, why it is aligned with the ethos of crypto, and also how to get from that I'm just a crypto investor, I'm earning 3 or 4% on my coins on Coinbase or Cash App, to I am fully using these apps and protocols as they can be used to the fullest extent of my benefit. And I think there's a huge gap in that part of education and marketing. We're certainly trying to fill that, and I inspire anybody to get out there, create content about that kind of gap, because that is a huge market of people that are just, they need kind of a push to get over. And I'm sure, as I'm saying this in this room, there might be some people who are like, yeah, I could use a little bit of help from going from, how to earn 5% on my stable coins on Coinbase to how are these guys doing 25% on this, protocol. Now, smart contract risk, all sorts of other things included. But I think the point here is it's a gradual kind of leap towards this onboarding process. And I think one of the biggest things that we need more of is education and marketing for kind of getting people into the full ethos of crypto, which is being your own bank and taking custody of your funds. It's definitely a process.
So in terms of education and what you've seen in terms of demographics, the people that really consume your content, this is for Andrew, are they younger? Are they older? What is the demographic looking like? Are these crypto natives? Are they non-natives? And how do you position the content that you're creating to be able to significantly speed up that ability to adopt crypto in a very big way? Because right now I think the massive barrier is education and just the complexity that is having your security checked, making sure that the seed phrase is not under your pillow. How are you dealing with that, and how do you see the educational side really developing in the next few months, in the next few years, in terms of really positioning itself to teach the next wave of the retail market?
Yeah, so to start, the demo is definitely ages low 20s to 40s, I would say, is the pretty strong demo. Obviously, there's a lot of males in there. Males like to gamble more. We are seeing way more women come in, which has been absolutely awesome to see. And that development of demographic is the age of the internet, kind of native people who are interested in basically taking the next step with their finances. So a lot of the motivation for them to get into crypto is effectively to basically make more money. And so that's definitely our demographic. Now, when it comes to the actual content itself, a lot of our stuff is centered around them using protocols in DeFi itself. So we have quite a few of tutorial videos of how to set up, your wallet, all that kind of stuff, to use DeFi, and how to set up your ledger, all that kind of stuff. But then once you kind of get past those beginner videos, all of our content is very much so how to do this with this protocol, or how to do this with this NFT, or why you should be trying this out, or hear this podcast about somebody explaining what Ethereum 2.0 is going to be. So at the end of the day, it's all still very complex. But once you get over the beginner stuff, you start to be able to go through each piece and be okay, I can do that because I've already done this. So once you kind of get comfortable in the trenches, you start to get a lot more comfortable doing more and more things.
You know, what's interesting is I think you have educational content for the younger generation. Myself and the colleagues at Halborn wrote a SANS course for security on blockchain and smart contract, and that's for more the institutional level people. So last class, I actually had 2 people from the Federal Reserve Bank that were in the class, and it's funny because I have a section in there talking about like money printing and stuff. It's like, I got to take that out right now. You get that?
They need to hear it.
Yeah, my gosh.
Actually, you know what? In the end, they're like, actually, yeah, we really agree with you. I'm like, okay, cool. So there. Yeah. Also, we have like some banks. JP Morgan was in some of those. So this is there's a high cost for it. Usually, it's the companies paying for it, but they're very interested in it. And I see every class is getting more and more filled up for it. And it's not about investing or money or DeFi at all. It's more about the security of it because they want to make sure that they're not going to lose the funds on behalf of their customers.
Yeah. That's the biggest downside for us too. Is like trying to find the way to best protect our audience's like risks, because we sometimes go very far out on the edge of just like, I'm just gonna do this because it's either brand new or something crazy, right? But there is just there's that risk on the institutional level, as you say, that is just a little bit different than
Yeah, they don't know what they're getting into sometimes. It's like security is different, like flipped on its head.
So right now, Ethereum is really the leader when it comes to DeFi adoption and obviously DeFi applications. The fees in Ethereum are insane. And so for mass adoption, how do you see that developing within Ethereum? How do you see maybe other protocols being able to take advantage of the high fees on Ethereum? And also, how do you, I guess, when it comes to educating, but also just getting people, your users on DeFi to understand that Ethereum is essentially not a no-go or at least how to manage that, and then also other protocols that maybe are coming up, which ones are of interest, and how do you see those developing really, I think, in the next 6 months to a year?
Well, when ETH2, I guess, is one of the
Right.
Soon.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to get solve the problem with that, moving from the proof of work to proof of stake. There's other like Solana, some of the other consensus ones, it doesn't cost so much for gas fees are coming out.
Zealot is going to be built on the Terra network because I'm a big fan of the Tendermint, underlying system. There's a lot of good happening there, and especially for something that's a protocol that's based on loans and getting people money that they need to actually apply in real-world scenarios. You need UST, which is the stable token on Terra, and that's what that whole ecosystem is about. To just do a marketing pitch for them, the entire point of their protocol is to provide stable tokens for the entire IBC world, which also includes Osmosis and Cosmos and the other protocols that were on the previous panel. So
I think Terra definitely is one of the ones in Solana and Polkadot
super
too.
cheap gas fees.
You can kind of look at Ethereum right now like one of the traditional like large-scale companies like Microsoft or IBM. Like, they don't have to adopt new technologies as fast as the smaller companies because they already have everybody, right? So they're like, yeah, ETH2's coming, but they're taking their time, and they have everybody, and then they're going to release it. They're not going to go away. In the meantime, other protocols are coming in with more efficient and eating a slice of their lunch, but at the end of the day, they're still going to be around most likely. No one has a crystal ball, but like Casper's got really efficient, protocol that is launching a bunch of new apps and DEXs and things like that. Obviously, Polygon Matic, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. So either people are doing layer 2s or they're launching brand new layer 1s and coming up with some really innovative services. So I think it's great all around to kind of spread that. And I think right now, what is it? Aave, Compound, and Maker are the top DeFi lending platforms. So they have like the total like biggest TVL kind of all companies combined. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, easily. And mainnet is like, as you say, it's kind of like the IBM, the Manhattan of the crypto world. The way that we look at it is you've got Ethereum as like the hub of all of the kind of main transactions on Ethereum in DeFi. And then you've got all these spokes to all of these other chains that we've just touched on. So there's bridges, obviously, where you can send your funds, from one chain to another. That's kind of how those hubs and spokes are connected, if you will. But what we haven't touched on, and I think is going to be like the biggest trend for Ethereum in the next probably 3-4 months, is basically ZK rollups. So ZK rollups are a form of a scaling layer where effectively as more transactions and as more people use the chain, it actually gets cheaper and faster. So
and more private. More private too.
Yeah, more private as well. So on Avalanche, which is a chain that we've loved over the last 3 months, it's blown up in price. The yield on DeFi has been absurd. I think 2 weeks ago or so, they released some really sketchy stuff, and the gas price just went through the roof, and it was all of a sudden almost as expensive to transact on Ethereum as it was, on Avalanche as it was Ethereum. So, speeding it up, ZK rollups basically are going to put all of the layer ones to shame because they pretty much have infinite scale. And they inherit the same level of security as the Ethereum chain does. So basically, because the ZK rollups are batched into transactions and then brought onto the Ethereum chain, they inherit the Ethereum, just the security layer, if you will. So very bullish on ZK rollups. Check out ZK Sync, Immutable X, and Diversify. And those are some really, really promising projects that are Ethereum native and Ethereum focused. And yes, I'm kind of an Ethereum maximalist.
To that I say, buy Bitcoin.
Okay, thank you. But before you leave the stage, because I love to ask a question, first off, we'll go down the line. Please tell us what DeFi means to you. And after that, please tell us how we can support you, where we can find you, what we can do to enable you to live your best life.
DeFi means to me is letting people become in charge of their finances instead of letting other people be in charge of it.
Power to the people.
Yes.
That's right.
And you can find me halborn.com. It's co-founder from Halborn, security company. You could look up Halborn Steve is my Twitter handle.
And where can we find your sweatshirt? Because I want one.
At the Miami Design District, because I actually live here in Miami. So if you guys want to go shopping with me, let me know. I'll show you where.
Woo! I live here in Miami
you can go
too.
shopping with me.
Yeah, you'll have to.
You have
you'll have to
Halborn
take
green
me
too.
shopping.
That's our colors.
Yeah, I love that sweatshirt. And for you, what does DeFi mean to you? Where can we find you? How can we support you? How can we be on your team?
So DeFi is the ability to control your future, and that's very important. That's pretty much it. As much as people want to say that money doesn't matter or that life is more than your bank account, and I totally agree with those things. But being able to control your financial future and remain self-sovereign is key, I think, to enabling all the other parts of life that are significantly more interesting and better. I am at Zealot Fi on Twitter, and we will be launching our site soon. Like I said, we're rolling out today, basically, just getting the word out, and it's been a long project build up. But I'm on Twitter, and find me there.
You got it, and we'll tweet you. We'll tweet it out. We'll send the birdies for you. What does DeFi mean to you, and how can we find you, support you, love on you?
Okay, so DeFi to me really means to be defiant. Sure, it's decentralized finance. That's why we're all here. But go against the grain because weapons of mass destruction have been released against us, and it's called the money printer. Don't go raving that your house has gone up 30% because your dollar has gone down 30%, right? Like the more we print, your purchasing power just goes. So just be aware of that. Hedge against that with other assets that we've all talked about up here. Bitcoin being the most secure, then Ethereum, then all the other ones that we should all take advantage of. So you can find me on Twitter, AE Davis, or at our website, CrownBits.io. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for moderating this panel. How can we love you, support you? Do you due diligence?
So DeFi enables human sovereignty. And so that's, and I think, a massive trend that we're seeing, and we're going to be seeing the acceleration of that trend. And you can find me at nmerchan, JR, on Twitter.
Thank you. And do you mind passing him? And last but not least, what does DeFi mean to you? And how can we find you, support you, love on you, do you justice?
Yeah, well, these guys have pretty much covered everything that DeFi is and should be. So I'll tell you what it is. It's an online gambling casino, 24/7, where you can play at any time, anywhere. All you need is Wi-Fi. So that's what, okay.
It's a truly free market. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And we're banking the unbanked, and we're going to absolutely make sure that everything is, as is and has been stated. Find us and all the educational stuff that I've talked about from the podcast, the tutorials, all of the articles at DeFi Slate. We're right here. Look us up.
He's so excited. He's undressing.
DeFi Slate. There's Robbie right there in the background with his hand up. He's the podcast co-host. Thank you guys for coming out. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you.